Hello again, fellow YouTubers and fellow Bond fans. Solomon Pleasant back for another James Bond movie review. We're on our 5th review. Awesome. So, let us get right into our 5th Bond movie, You Only Live Twice. And this is one of those films that's kind of in the middle for me. So, this will be interesting. Let's dive right into You Only Live Twice. So, let's start with story as usual. And the story is basically Spectre is back, and they are kidnapping U.S. and Russian satellite. They've captured some U.S. and Russian space rocket things, some things with people in them, and they've captured them. And they're basically holding them there and making Russia and the U.S. go at it with each other. All doing this from Tokyo, by the way, so no one would suspect Tokyo. And they're basically holding these guys hostage until they basically get the US and Russia to go to war with each other, which would be good. And already you can kind of tell what's wrong with the story. It's hard to follow and it's kind of forgettable. And it sounds like a good premise, but it's just hard to remember. This is the first Bond movie, I should say, where I can barely remember what the plot was. It's just hard to remember. Lots of it's good, but it's just kind of hard to remember. Not much I can say about the story because I don't remember most of it. I remember it takes place in Tokyo, and I think one of the problems is the characters kind of overshadow the story. And this usually doesn't happen in Bond films. Usually there's a balance, but this is one of them where they overshadow it. So I can't really say much about the story, but from what I remember, trying to get US and Russia to go to war with each other. I think that's what it is. If I'm wrong, comment below and tell me what it was, and maybe I'll rethink that or maybe repost this video. But as far as I can remember, I'm just going to give this a half a star because it's a very forgettable story. Can't say much about it. Next. So now we have scenery. The scenery is really good in this film. Right? Yeah. The scenery is really good in this film. And it's nice to get a look at Tokyo. Tokyo looks really nice. It's really calm and for the most part really peaceful. The volcano lair looks awesome. So we got nice scenery and an awesome looking villain lair. That's actually in a volcano. Points to you for that. That's awesome. And Japan looks really nice. And it's just all really... Yeah, I'm having a hard time talking here. All really nice scenery. So, having that said, I give scenery a star because it's really good. And next we got... Bottom up. Okay, so Thunderball left some really easy shoes to fill. You Only Live Twice only makes it halfway there. And here's why. The story kinda kills it. It kinda does. And that's one of the main reasons why it's kind of hard to follow up. Some of the characters also don't help, but at the same time, it just only makes it so that it's as good as Thunderball. It was as good as Thunderball, but at the same time, it wasn't better than Thunderball. It was a little bit better, I'll say that. It was a little bit better than Thunderball, but at the same time, it's just only gets enough where it's as good as Thunderball. So for that reason, I give Follow Up a half a star because it didn't go above Thunderball. It kind of stayed at the same. It was a little bit better, but kind of stayed near the same level. Now we move on to theme music. Another good theme song, I think. This theme song is, again, not one of my personal favorites. It's like Goldfinger. Here's why it's good, though. It is such a nice and peaceful song. It's really peaceful. And half the time when I'm listening to it, I kind of just want to sit back and go to sleep. Because it's just so peaceful, it's so calm and innocent. And the lyrics are nice too. It just makes me want to relax. It's just a really relaxing song. And with the stuff that's going on in the background, that makes it okay. And with the volcanoes and everything. And it's just a really relaxing, really peaceful song. And that makes it really good. It really fits here. So for that reason, I give song a star. Now I move on to characters. Sean Connery is Bond. Ding. Alright. MI6 is okay, Q is in there, not that much, M's in there, they're all fine, they're all just average again. The Bond girl is average, she doesn't do that much, to be totally honest. The first one did stuff, and then got poisoned. Yeah. God, I hope I don't get cold. But first one did stuff, got poisoned. Second one doesn't really do anything, so it's just kind of boring there. So the Bond girl isn't all that special. The friend, Tiger, I think it is, he's an okay helper. He helps out Bond pretty well, I think. He does well. How could I forget Little Nelly? Q brings Little Nelly in there. My mistake. That is already a good thing in there, because that helicopter is freaking awesome. Moving on to villains. And this film gives in one of the biggest villains ever in Bond history. It shows us Blofeld, the leader of Spectre. That Blofeld is awesome. He's only in like a third of the movie, and even then it's not shown that much. But he's how you would expect Blofeld to look. It's how you would expect him to look. Oh, I got the sniffles. Blah. He just looks like a genuine Bond villain, and he's the number one Bond villain because he's Blofeld. He's the leader of Spectre. He goes at it with Bond. It's just he's the lead villain, so that's good props. But it's like this film has a lot of yin and yang going on. For every good thing that it has to have a bad thing too. The henchmen are so forgettable. We got Helga something, I think. Helga, eaten by piranhas. Wow, you didn't do much. You have no characteristics except you were a female Bond villain. We have Mr. Otaso shot. That's pretty forgettable. And then we've got Hans or something. That was just a stereotypical blonde jock who got eaten by piranhas. Blofeld kills two of his own henchmen. Bond only kills one henchman, even then it's the piranha thing. We saw the piranha thing already, though. So it's just the henchmen are just so bland. Really, they have good characters, but it's just they're so forgettable. They're not anywhere in my top 10 henchmen list. They're not like Oddjob or Red Grant. They don't have any distinct character. Okay, Red Grant didn't have much of a distinct character either, but he gets a free pass. They're not like Oddjob or anything like that. So there's nothing really much to talk about when it comes to the henchmen. So you got two good things and a bunch of average or lower things. So for that reason, I give characters a half a star just because it just didn't... the multiple amount of lower characters than high characters. But I will say Sean Connery and Blofeld are awesome. They make the whole movie, pretty much. You got some other characters in there, but I forget. So that comes out to 7, 8, 9. That makes You Only Live Twice a 9 or 4 for those of you keeping score at home and only giving it 5. Only giving it out of 5. It's not a bad film, it's just some of it could have been better, and it didn't fully surpass Thunderball. Grant, it's better than Thunderball, I'll say that. But, again, you still have some problems. I still like the film, though. The film is really nice. And again, something that I'm going to point out, some of my more personal favorites of the songs, when it comes to Bond films, aren't usually my favorite Bond films, but the songs, I think that's why I notice the songs more, because the Bond films themselves are just like, oh. I'm kind of off today, clearly. But I'm still going to post it like this anyway. So, I've got nothing else really to say. This was a pretty short review, I think. What's the time that we have here? Only 9 minutes? Are you joking? Ugh. Where do I go from here? Nowhere, I guess. So, this has been Solomon Pleasant, and what is next week? Why do I keep saying that? Ugh. What is next time? What's after that one? And that one? Okay, so we have something going for us. Oh boy. This is Solomon Pleasant. Signing off. This next time's gonna hurt a little. You could tell already next time's gonna hurt.